Today, we'll answer two of life's greatest questions. What's the difference between a Surron X, Talaria X, and Talaria R? And what the f*** is a kilowatt? Like, seriously.
Yeah, I'm on my own. I don't need no one. I don't, yeah.
My Surron giveaway is officially over. The winner will be announced in the next video. And today I'm officially opening the new giveaway, 3 Talaria XXXs. These bikes are brand new and currently sold out in the US. So if you'd like to win one, there's 2 ways you can enter the giveaway. You can try Charge PEV, my new detailing line for all things electric. The bundle will get you 500 entries. And you can consider the membership, which gets you automatic entry into all my giveaways and discounts on Charge PEV. So you could try the bundle at a discount and still get 500 entries in addition to your membership entries. Everything you need to know is in the description of this video. Good luck. Let's get into it. So these are the 3 best e-bikes on the market, exactly how you'd get them out of the box in 2023. The Surron X, the Talaria Sting R, and the Talaria XXX, which I'm calling the Talaria X. In this video, I'll compare the bikes, give 3 pros and cons for each, assign a wheelie ranking, and discuss my limitations. Let's jump right in. Starting off with price, the Talaria Sting R is the most expensive, retailing from Lunicycle at $4,500, followed by the Surron at $4,350, and the cheapest, Talaria X, at $2,995 before tax and shipping. Now, availability-wise, the Talaria X was just released but is already sold out. Once supply steadies, these will be readily available online just like the Talaria R. The Surron, however, will become increasingly difficult to buy as Surron moves towards solely in-person powersport dealerships. Unfortunately, ordering a Surron online may no longer be an option in the near future. I won't spend too much time on looks because it's so subjective, but personally, I think the Surron is the most beautiful bike of the 3, followed closely by the Talaria X and then the Sting R. Comparing sizes, the Talaria R is the heaviest bike, weighing 145 pounds. The Talaria X is considerably lighter at 125 pounds, followed by the Surron X being the lightest at just over 123 pounds. These weight differences are noticeable when moving and riding these bikes. The Talaria R also stands the tallest with a seat height of 33.5 inches. The Surron X stands 1 inch shorter, and the Talaria X stands 2 inches shorter at the seat. Both the Talaria R and the Surron X come with 19-inch dirt wheels. The Talaria X comes with smaller 17-inch Supermoto wheels, but it can also be purchased with 17-19 dirt wheels. The Talaria X seat extends further to the front than the R or Surron X. This gives you more riding positions off-road. In addition, the narrow Talaria X frame is very easy to hug with your legs. The Talaria R is the runner-up with a smooth transition from seat to battery, allowing you to slide forward off-road and hug the bike with your legs. The Surron comes last in these respects. It's rough going balls to battery, and the leg-hugging ergonomics are not ideal. Both Talarias have bar ends, which protect your grips and throttle. The Surron does not come with bar ends. The Talaria X is the only bike with black pegs, which is a nice touch over the silver. The Talaria R has the best keys with a nice solid feel to them. The Surron X used to have the best keys until they switched to these lame donut keys. And the Talaria X has an RFID push to start, which is alright, but I prefer a key. The Surron X has the most primitive display. It only shows your speed and distance, no battery level, and only the selection between sport and eco mode. Both Talarias have more advanced displays that give additional information like error codes and your battery percentage. You can also switch between sport and eco mode with an additional 4 levels of regenerative braking that can be changed while riding. Surprisingly, the cheapest of the 3, the Talaria X, has the most controls. In addition to the performance controls it shares with the Sting R, the Talaria X is the only bike with an active brake light, and the only bike with headlight control. You can select between 3 brightness levels on the Talaria X headlight, while the Talaria R and Surron X are just always on. Now, although the Surron has the fewest controls, there is something to be said about its simplicity. Turn the key and you're gone. No additional buttons or settings to worry about. It also has a 12-volt USB port, which the Talarias do not, so take that, Talaria. The bikes all have similar brakes, although the Sting R has larger 220mm rotors on the front and rear, which is a nice improvement over the 200mm rotors on the other bikes. Now let's talk batteries. The 3 bikes are all 60 volts, with the Surron X having the lowest capacity of 38 amp hours, followed by the 40 amp hour Talaria X battery and the largest 45 amp hour Talaria R battery. You can easily remove the battery of the Surron X and the Talaria R. The Surron has 2 connectors, while the Talaria R has a nice combined connector. Several more steps are required to remove the Talaria X battery. It's the most inconvenient, but there is a silver lining I'll discuss shortly. Now, the Surron battery does read exact percentage, which is nice compared to the Talaria batteries, which only read increments. The Talaria X battery has the best charging port. It opens easily and closes on its own. The cap on the Talaria R locks in but feels cheap, and on the Surron it falls off but it feels nice. Both Talarias come with the same 10 amp charger. The Surron also comes with a 10 amp charger, but it's considerably larger. The Talaria charger is clearly the more portable option. However, the Surron charger has the most satisfying connector. The Talaria Sting R and Talaria X have the same exact IPM motor. The Surron X and Talaria X both run primary belt reductions. The Surron has a belt cover while the Talaria X is more exposed. Meanwhile, the Talaria R runs a primary gearbox filled with oil, so pick your poison as far as these go. Now for power. The Surron X pushes 6 kilowatts, the Talaria X pushes 6.5, and the Talaria R pushes 8 kilowatts. But what is a kilowatt? It's a measurement of power. Think of the bike's power like a water hose. Voltage measures the water pressure, and amps measures the water's flow. Multiplying the two gives you a pretty good idea of power. Volts multiplied by amps equals watts. 1,000 watts is a kilowatt. So measuring the power of these bikes in thousands of watts says a lot, given that the highest powered street legal e-bikes are only 750 watts. Alright, that's enough math. Let's compare how loud these bikes are. Now for acceleration and top speed testing. I did 3 pulls on each bike with a full charge. I measured 0 to 20, 0 to 40, and top speeds. These are the results. The Talaria R was the only bike powerful enough to lift the wheel off the ground, so beyond the numbers, you can absolutely feel this bike is the most powerful. The Surron and Talaria are pretty close off the line until you hit top speed, where the Surron is really looking slow. Now for range testing. My focus was on controlling as many variables as possible. I rode each bike from 100% down to 30%, measuring the total distance traveled and average speed. I conducted this test on the same road with the same ambient temperature, same wind levels, and same number of stops on each bike. The bikes were all in sport mode. I turned off regen on the Talarias, and on the Surron, I would switch to eco anytime I slowed down to remove the regen variable. This was a full throttle test. All distance traveled was at full throttle on each bike. The Talaria X did 15.1 miles with an average speed of 39.5 miles per hour before getting to 30% battery. Ass fatigue was high by the end, but I was pleased to see there wasn't a huge power sag until around the 40% battery level. The Surron did an astonishing 16.9 miles despite having dirt tires and less battery capacity. However, the average speed was lower at 37 miles per hour. The Surron's power sags just before 60% battery, so although it went the additional 2 miles, it's likely due to the power sag. On this ride, I really noticed how much smoother the suspension is on the Surron compared to the two Talarias. Out of the box, the Surron has the cushiest suspension. Surprisingly, the Talaria Sting R traveled the shortest distance, doing only 14.4 miles before hitting 30% battery. Although the R has the largest battery capacity, it is the heaviest and rode faster with a higher average speed of 41.8 miles per hour. 2 things I learned about the Talaria Sting R on this range test were that it has a ton of battery rattle, which ironically makes the most expensive bike feel the cheapest. And the power sags way more on the Talaria R than the other bikes. At 30% battery on the Talaria R, you have almost 0 throttle. Here's a demo. Your ride is over at 30%, the other bikes do not sag like this. After pushing these bikes hard, none of them allowed me to charge until they cooled down. This is a safety feature they all share, and unless you're pinning them for 15 miles, it shouldn't be an issue. Now here are 3 pros and cons for each bike, starting with the Surron X. Its pros are that there's an insane aftermarket for the Surron, just so many upgrade and replacement options since it's been out the longest. It's also the most tested bike of the 3. After years of customer abuse, we know the Surron can take a beating. And this is personal, but I think the Surron is the most beautiful of the 3 bikes. Its cons are that it will become increasingly difficult to find online, especially in the near future. It has the smallest battery capacity and the lowest power output. 3 pros for the Talaria X are its price, being by far the best value bike on this list. It comes with street or dirt wheels, so it's the only bike that gives you that option. And the frame is ergonomic to hug with your legs. I really like it. 3 cons of the Talaria X are that the battery is inconvenient to remove, although I will note that this is also a big pro for the X because it has 0 battery rattle like the Talaria R has. It's very solid. The suspension does have the least travel of the 3 bikes, and the bike is smaller than the other 2, so if you're a certain size or used to riding larger bikes, this may not be your style. 3 pros for the Talaria Sting R are that it's the most powerful, it's the fastest, and it's the largest. It'll likely fit the majority of adult riders very well. 3 cons for the Talaria Sting R are its gearbox. I've seen several leak. It's the heaviest, so it's not as easy to move around the garage, load into a car, or maneuver while riding. And it's the most expensive bike of the 3. Now for a quick wheelie ranking. At the top of my list is the Talaria X. First off, it comes with Supermoto wheels, which helps a lot with wheelies. In addition, the narrow frame is so easy to hug with your legs. The control is there to play with its high power to weight ratio. I also suspect the battery weight distribution is best for wheelies. The balance point is so solid, and it's the only bike with this type of battery weight distribution. My next favorite to wheelie is the Talaria R, simply because it's the most powerful, so it's easy and fun to keep the wheel up. Both Talarias having adjustable regen is really nice for wheelies as well. I like turning mine down. The Surron somehow ended up at the bottom of the wheelie ranking, but do not be mistaken, this is such an amazing wheelie bike. However, the rear shock needs to be tightened for wheelies, and the power needs to be upgraded more so than the other bikes. Before I wrap up, I want to discuss some of my limitations in this video. These bikes are off-road bikes, and I did not talk about off-roading them. I'll leave that for someone more knowledgeable on the subject. In addition, neither of the Talarias have had the same long-term customer testing the Surron has, so there could be issues I'm not familiar with. Finally, all of the performance and feature comparisons I've made in this video totally go out the window when you start upgrading these bikes. This is a comparison only between the bikes in their stock form. One last time, I'm giving away 3 Talaria X's. If you'd like to win one, you can enter my giveaway in the description of this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. As I do.
Yeah, I'm on my